Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate having you here on the Agree to Disagree show with the new American media because the old American media has failed you. Today, we're going to discuss the draft and the Russians. Aren't you excited about drafting your daughters? Also, Jack Black, more like Jack Blackmailed.
Yeah.
I mean, why would anyone else support Biden at this point?
Right.
Oh, you got the Tenacious D shirt. Oh, Blake, I wish we could. I don't know how to pull up the video of when I met Jack Black. That was a fun night, and I liked the guy. I want to like the guy, but now I'm instantly concerned about him. Is Jack being blackmailed? We're also going to talk about the Nashville manifesto. Yeah, remember that story? Remember when that was wall-to-wall news 24/7? No, because they only do that with some stories because they push anger and riots and they fund riots and the brown shirts. But this one kind of just got swept under the rug until some journalism did some journalisming. So now, guess what? They're trying to go after the journalist for checks, notes, First Amendmenting. We're going to discuss that topic. Also, these Biden videos that show him frozen. Come on, man. Or being dragged off or puking his pants. Okay, what's going on with these? Is it selective editing? Are all of these being taken out of context? Do these particular videos even matter? Because we know he's a brain dead slob, a marionette puppet anyway. Does it even matter? We're going to discuss, and we're going to try to be fair. But also, just back to Jack Black real quick, the Hollywood celebrity endorsements. Do they matter? Speaking of do things matter, do they even matter anymore? Or is this a crucial cornerstone to the Joe Biden re-election campaign? Imagine having to put your name next to the Joe Biden re-election campaign for all of time to be laughed at. Also, Alex Jones, you know that guy. Should he surrender his social media accounts to the courts? And then speaking of other people, I don't know. I'm trying to make an analogy. I'm trying to make a little joke here about heat or the flames or I don't know. I missed the chance to put Jack Black with Chuck Schumer because that's what your thumbnail did, Blake. It had them grilling and Jack Black. Do you have a picture of that? Are you able to share the screen of that image? I feel like we should have you share the image of the thumbnail at the beginning of each show. Is that something we could even do? I know we're asking on the fly. By the way, this is Blake Walley, everybody. Make sure you're following him. And his work is being archived at thenextlevelnews.com. And he's also on X at TV's Blake Walley. If you would like to support independent journalisming, you can go ahead and find Blake Walley on Cash App. That is $ Blake W99. There it is in blue on your screen. So, Blake, do you have the capability of showing the thumbnail image for each show? I think you do.
I can just get into my Canva here. Yes, this is my little layout here for today's thumbnail, little backyard barbecue with Chuck and Schumer and Jack Black.
Let's break this one down a little bit. I know we'll come back to it, but okay. War draft cooking. Now that's clever because the draft is, like a war is cooking, it's brewing. But yeah, Chucky Schumer, what did he say? The deep state has 5 ways from Sunday to getting back at
6 ways from Sunday, yeah.
6 ways from Sunday. And so he's trying to be Captain Relatable here with his cheeseburger. But what's Jack Black doing? He's wearing coveralls. Was this the Los Angeles fundraising event with Obama and Biden? That's what that was from?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. We just a little photoshopping and it kind of came together pretty nice. I couldn't decide which we do for the picture today. What is the headline story? It's really the draft. So it's kind of war draft coming was the ripped off the headline from the Zero Hedge, and then added a couple of I wanted the Chucky Schumer because today was the Moggles Day or the Pit Viper sunglasses day. We have like 3 layouts that we keep using over and over again in the same rotation, and today was sunglasses day. So who did we add? Was it Jack Black, Chucky Schumer? Why not both? So there we go. That's
All right.
today's backyard barbecue.
Well, that's as good.
Chuck E. Cheeseburger.
Jack Blackmailed and Chuck E. Cheeseburger. All right. Well, that's as good of a jumping off point as I can imagine. So let's go ahead and launch into today's program right about now.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. You know what? I think, Blake, it would be awesome if we could get a 20-second version of that. If we could condense that somehow to do a really quick intro show thing without the full 90 seconds there. It's good. It's a good thing. But I think to keep it moving and keep it frosty, maybe we could tighten that up a bit. I don't know. I don't know how to use clip grabs, so I apologize. Free draft beer, though. Yes. Well, look, let's talk about the draft, Blake. Agree or disagree that we should reinstate the military draft to fight against the Russians?
Absolutely not. But yes, all the people now that had, proudly waving their Ukrainian flags, putting it on their profiles, wanting us to fight back against evil Putin and the Russians. Well, okay. Well, how do you feel now? You feel like sending your sons and daughters to war? How committed are you? And this is pretty serious stuff. And this is, it's been kind of looming around a little bit, but now it's really in our face. It's getting pretty bad. So this is becoming a potential reality. Let's pull up the story. This is a tweet from Wayne Allen Root. Says that he's warned for over a year that the military draft is coming to send your boys to death on the front lines of Ukraine. It's happening. Ukraine is running out of soldiers. They basically have anybody of somewhat military age. I don't know what they're grabbing. It doesn't matter. 16 to 50, whoever they can, anybody that they can grab. I've even seen women in a recent picture. It's like they look like a bunch of high school girls, and they're going to be thrown into the meat grinder on the front lines. They need anybody they can. So at some point they're going to run out of personnel, and then rather than just make peace with the Russians and just give up the Donbass and Crimea, they'll start sending our own kids to war and Europeans and anybody else that they can throw at it. So they're saying World War III is starting. So is the draft, and only Trump can stop this. Vote Trump if you don't want to see your sons on the Russian front. Of course, he is sharing a article from Zero Hedge. And here's breaks down the details. So the House passes a measure now to automatically register men for selective service, except it's men and going to be women as well here. So the House of Representatives, this was just last Friday, approved its version of the annual defense policy bill. Brian, we've been fighting that for a long time. The National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, is already moved forward in a 217 to 199 vote. It fell along party lines. Only 3 Republicans opposed it. So there's there's 2 controversial amendments that are part of it this year. One is the draft, of course, and then the other one is the National Guard to crack down on the southern border. So
you know what, that might be a good that might be a good jumping off point here. Let me jump into this screen and show you what someone else is saying about this here. Tell me if we agree or disagree with this person, and we can jump back to your article. But this is a perfect segue for what you were talking about. Here we go. Let's play this guy.
Yep, not running. Let me
created so your arms manufacturers can make more money for your banker friends. Did I get that fucking solid right or not? Now, wrong, Elephant Breath. My daughter will not be joining the military any way, shape, or form unless it's to fight this fucking war. People. See how you don't understand the societal fucking rules about women and children. Let me school you a little bit. Now, the fact of the matter is you can't make your fucking recruitment numbers because your recruiters told so many lies like, oh, yes, you get the condo on the beach when you join up. Oh, you get to start here, but we're going to switch you to what you really want later. And the biggest boner up the ass, the VA will take care of you if you got hurt. Hey, the reason you can't meet the recruitment goals is because these young men have already voted with their fucking feet. They're not going to fucking fight. And the fact that you think you're going to get the women to fight, let me put it to you this way. It was one thing when you oppressed us with unbelievable fucking taxes. One thing, because we were living in nice homes and still eating pretty good. It's another thing when you spied on us to the degree that you did and made us realize that we don't have any freedom. It's another thing when you not only wrecked the fucking economy, but you fucking did it in such a way where you spent so much that the people never had a chance to benefit from it. And now, when you have people that are homeless eating canned goods out of the back of their fucking car, you know what? They may do that for themselves, but their kids are not going to go through that. Motherfucker, you're going to find out what people will do for their fucking children. You protect women and children.
Blake, what say you? Those are some pretty strong words right there.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, maybe he's got a family, he's got daughters. I don't know. I would be very concerned, right, especially if I had kids that were of some kind of a military age. And right now they're starting with 18 to 26, which is, I'm sure, what Ukraine started. And I'm sure they've expanded those numbers. It was to at least, 45 years old. And we've had times like that in the past too, where we were desperate for recruits. I think the Confederates maybe during the Civil War had to expand and even get 45 middle-aged men, anybody that could to fight in their war.
Well, this person here who shared this this message about you are not drafting my daughter, the person that shared that said, I'll tell you what, why don't you leave our women alone and send the illegals you've allowed in to the front line? Ooh. No draft, no sign up, just grab them and send them. That's been another one of the theories as to why we're stocking up 30 million illegal aliens and they're fighting age men. Are they being positioned across the country to attack Americans, or are they going to be supplied to the war machine, rounded up and sent as an American army? Come back and you'll have American citizenship if you fight for us in this next world war, Blake. How likely do you think either of those scenarios are? Obviously, it's speculation, sort of, but you can't dispute the fact that we are trying to get involved in Gaza. We are trying to get involved over in Ukraine. We are getting sucked into Hong Kong, Taiwan, over in China. What say you?
Well, if there was a justified war, then maybe that would be an option. To keep some of these have these people fight to keep their citizenship. A lot of them are military-aged men. It seems like they'll be used more against us than they would be willing to go to Ukraine. But certainly, if they were willing to do that to earn their citizenship, that might be a win-win scenario. But why are we involved with the Russians? As far as I'm concerned, if the people in the Donbass and the Crimea, people in the eastern and southern regions of Ukraine want to join with Russia, let them. That's it. End of story. I don't need to go and fight a war to keep people that aren't happy in Ukraine out of Russia, just because we can't, give any, let Putin have a slight victory, if we want to call it that. This never should have happened in the first place. So
what about this one, Blake? Jesse Kelly says, I don't have many thoughts on the selective service other than this. It is not 1941. It is not 1971. This country is nothing like it was, and I'm not sure the government knows it. If a government this evil tries to draft its most patriotic sons, I could see that getting spicy.
Yeah, that'll be a big wake-up call for everybody, because certainly the draft was very problematic, very unpopular during the Vietnam time. That was another unjustified war. We really shouldn't have. They had more justification back then than they do now for this Ukraine one. But still, that's not they maybe had some kind of a threat with the domino theory that communism was going to run rampant, so we had to make some kind of a stand in Vietnam to fight. But that was a huge mistake, and it just seemed like it was a prolonged effort that could have been ended a lot quicker. We lost a lot of good people, and it wasn't a glorified war like World War II. Like we were fighting Nazis, we were fighting evil. We were just what are we doing? Sending our guys to go die in the jungle to prevent the spread of communism. That didn't really make much sense to people, and it turned a lot of people off against the government. And I thought maybe they would learn their lesson and not try to do that again. But if they're going to keep this war going, they're running out of troops. It seems like you either hire some mercenaries or you let it go. You have your peace trial and you give up. But apparently they've got so much at stake with Ukraine that they're willing to send our own people to go die. And we're not built like we used to be. And we're just not up to the same standards. This Generation Z are not the the greatest generation like we had in World War II or even Vietnam.
And by the way, Blake, one more thought. Let's say there is a draft. They try to take American patriotic sons and daughters to go over to Ukraine. You empty the United States of the most able-bodied men and women when 30 million illegal aliens are activated to attack the interior of your own country. Ooh. How completely wide open would we leave the keys to the facility in that case, Blake?
Ooh, that's a good point, Brian. Yeah, because if they don't have to fight and they're just here for free and we're funding them, so they'll just take their jobs and get the benefits, and then our kids will go over, die in the meat grinder against Putin to what? To try to prevent people that don't want to be in Ukraine to stay, just so we don't lose faith. For the war machine here. For the CIA State Department war against Putin. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's the end of our civilization, and it's complicated, and that's going to be a big problem for us. And yeah, we're going to be rendered defenseless here against the tyrants from within. So they're letting the open borders, military-aged men take over while we send our men to fight overseas and get destroyed fighting against Russia. Not a good idea. Yeah, it sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
So would you agree with Free State NH on Twitter? They say the draft should not exist. Selective service should not exist. The federal government should not exist.
I would say the draft only in the most extremes of situations. Maybe like if we were like getting invaded by, aliens from another world and we had to get our recruitment numbers, we're fighting for our literal survival here on planet Earth, then maybe. Or, if it was, a type of the Führer of Germany, and I'll be careful not to say their names so we don't red flag the video content. But if we had some other kind of threat, if Putin was really the madman that they try to make him out to be, and he was really looking to, conquer America, or if he teamed up with Xi Jinping and China, and it was going to be the new Axis versus Allies, and they were coming in and we couldn't get our numbers up and we just had to organize, fighting for the survival of free United States, yeah, then maybe. Federal government the federal government should be cut down like probably 75% or more. I don't know about that. So there's things I agree with. This is a very libertarian type of account. But I mean, that would leave us vulnerable if we really just went along with some of these libertarian ideals of this utopia, idealistic utopia of just, open borders and, no draft, no nothing. Yeah, we would be conquered very quickly. So I would think, I don't know if we would be organized enough to fight back. Just little militias that would just get picked off one by one until we lost our country. That's why we had to unite the states. Because even during the colony days, we had to keep united. Otherwise, we'd get eaten up one by Britain again after we had beaten them in the Revolutionary Wars. So it's short-sighted thinking. But yeah, he does present some good points. Yeah, we shouldn't have these things, especially for an unjustified event like this. So no, there's no reason to go fight for Ukraine. Absolutely.
You mentioned the Z word and the N word in the same word here, and that's what the next one is. Jack Hunter says Congress is trying to bring back the draft. F that. Ronald Reagan said that the military draft, quote, rests on the assumption that your kids belong to the state. That assumption isn't a new one. The National Socialists thought it was a great idea. So, I mean, that really is what it comes down to. Who is sovereign over the individual, Blake? The human or the state that you happen to be born into? That's the ultimate question of freedom. Are we actually free or not?
Right. And in this country, it's supposed to be under God. It's not supposed, because in the old days, it used to be, are you under the king or are you under the Pope? So now we can say, yes, are we under the God or are we under the state? So that's another one. So I would prefer to be under, I'm not even a religious guy, but I would just prefer to be under God than under any of that other stuff. Pope, state, king, we're in quite a mess here on planet Earth at this time, and well, for all time. We had some good runs, but it appears that we're in a lot of trouble here again. This could be the end of our civilization. And getting into another World War III with the Russians sounds like a recipe for disaster, which could escalate into nuclear war, which could involve massive die-offs and a reboot of civilization. Perhaps we will be conquered from external sources, and maybe we deserve it.
Buzz Patterson here says, to elaborate, the draft was ended in late 1972 by Richard Nixon at the tail end of the Vietnam War. I know. I was in the final group. I went to college. The Selective Service System, SSS, is the government tool used to create a pool of draftees. It's been law that even during peacetime, men 18 and older are required to sign up. I did, but now Gen Z is the target pool, and Congress is attempting to include women in the available pool of draftees. This has never been the case in American history. To be clear, everyone 18 and over will now automatically be enrolled in the SSS database. As a former volunteer for the U.S. Air Force, I appreciated the option to choose to serve. As a former commander and career Air Force officer, I appreciated the opportunity to work with men and women who wanted to be there. It works. Our military under Biden is woke and broke. Progressive identity politics have resulted in dramatically less qualified individuals and a less motivated generation wanting to volunteer. If reelected, Biden will have no choice but to crank up the draft to fill the ranks of an increasingly reduced rank and file. Biden will continue to move away from a volunteer force who want to serve to a conscripted group who is forced to serve. It will be disastrous. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, it would be a disaster. This is not the typical military. This is not the World War II. This is not the the farm boys, people who are in dramatically better shape, physically and mentally than they are now. They're really having trouble with the recruiting numbers, and it's a soft generation. So
yeah, that is true. We have a few more takes on this. If you go to the New American Media on X, we are at American_media_. Make sure you're following Blake at TV's Blake Walley as well. Okay. that's really what we have to say on that. We do have some other stories we want to get to today. But I did pull you off of your screen, Blake. I don't know if you wanted to wrap up where you were, if it wasn't already covered. That was a million years ago, it feels like. Sorry about that. I got on a little
No,
distracted.
it's good. It's a fine little sidetrack here. We're right on subject here. Yeah, I was just trying to find some meme. This is one of my favorite accounts to follow. They have a lot of good memes, but I know they've got stuff like this. Like if there was actually a military draft, all the feminists that are out there with the Ukraine flags would probably change their tune in a hurry if there was an actual draft and they were looking for women as well as men. So yeah, they would be happy to go back to being, embracing Susie Homemaker rather than getting on the battlefield in Ukraine, in a foreign country. So, but let's get back to.
Wait, you said Susie Homemaker. Let me ask: does that sort of resemble this that we sent out on our Instagram feed earlier today? Make sure you're following us on Instagram, the New American Media. Are these also homemakers?
Well, I would say most of them look like they're staged, especially one we're going to talk about today. I haven't seen the rest of those, and I don't know who all of those people are. I recognize the Clintons.
Yeah, bottom right are the Clintons. Bottom left appears to be Kamala and her husband-in-law, or her husband, rather. Top left is Kathy Hochul. I mean, I've never seen somebody so stiffly hold a half-cooked hot hamburger product like that. And, of course, we will talk about Chucky Schumer because that's the new one. But, yes, look at us doing very human things just like you, our fellow humans. And then we put on the tagline, "Hello, fellow Earthlings. Look at us legitimate humans who are here to help you and represent you. Trust us. Trust us."
That's a good one, Brian. Yeah, no, I think that's you nailed it. These people are completely out of touch. They're elitists, and these are all staged ops to try to make themselves look like they're just like, hey, just regular people like the rest of us.
It's someone I'd like to sit down and have a beer with. Timothy Hanlon is saying it is now known that we are in a spiritual war as well as, what is that? As the brain? They're throwing everything at us to scramble the brain.
Or physical. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Centered. Sorry, we talked over each other there. Stay spiritually centered because they're going after us. Yeah, we'll be sinking on the D raft. It's nuts, Blake. What did you have here on your screen? I'm sorry. I took you off twice.
No worries. Yeah, we're still in this Zero Hedge article here, but we're talking about all able-bodied males, but I don't know why they're not saying females because that's also part of it. Yes, this will expand draft regulation to women as well as men. 18 to 26, and that will expand depending on how many people they need. So previously it had only been voluntary, but the new amendment will make this registration automatic. The automatic draft registration proposal was instigated by the Selective Service community, endorsed by Mark Rogers, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this has been going on. They've been cooking this up, and it's easy for them in Congress to, send our kids to go off and die. I don't know if that would apply to them.
I ain't no senator's son. I ain't no fortunate one. That was Creedence Clearwater Revival. And let's just be clear, just for the sake of making sure we're trying to provide as much insight here. It's been the law that you are required to sign up for the draft. That's very different from being automatically entered into the draft. Very different. You could have chosen to not do that, and that could have made you a criminal. That could have banned you from taking out loans and going to school and all sorts of things, government assistance. You could have found yourself on a bunch of lists, maybe through no fault of your own. So in a way, it is easier. It's better to prevent stuff like that. But I think being required to sign up for something is very different than being automatically registered for it in the first place. Kind of like in Hunger Games, right? Like all of the residents are automatically entered. You don't choose to enter. And that is that's an interesting point. I don't know what difference that actually makes, but it is worth noting, I think. So there's that component to it. But what about some of this male privilege? What about trying to take a closer look at gender roles in the same week, Blake, where Leah Thomas, what's the person's, what were they born? What was the other name? William? When that Thomas person said that they wanted to participate in the Olympics in the women's category, that person was told, no, thank you. You were not born a woman. That's it. We're not having this conversation.
Right.
In the same week that you defend women there, would it make sense to then consider defending men and trying to restore a little bit of balance and a little bit of respect for a society that's been attacking men pretty much nonstop for how many years back do you want to go? Do you want to go 9 years when Trump entered the scene? Do you want to go 20 years since, programs like The Man Show used to be on? Like, would that even make it today? You have to try to think back 25 years to the 1990s, 99, Woodstock 99 culture. I mean, that was an entirely different universe. How long have men been denigrated? There was the Me Too movement. It's like, yeah, there's plenty of bad people doing bad things, but trying to strip the masculinity out of the male population of your society is a terrible idea. And it's like, is this the feminism that you wanted, ladies? Can we have this conversation now? Is this really what you want? Because now it's reached critical mass. You want your daughters to be drafted into some ridiculous Victorian Newland war in Ukraine for what? So I don't know, Blake. I mean, do you think we're looking at gender roles differently with Thomas not in the Olympics, and everybody's looking at their daughters saying, hell no, we're drawing a line in the sand, and we're not just looking at daughters, we're looking at men too.
Yeah, I guess we need a reality check. So maybe this will be the one that America gets and deserves.
That's tough. Because, I mean, America deserves a lot right now. America has been wrongly very poorly mismanaged for a long time. Not and without the consent of the governed.
Right. Yeah, they've weakened us substantially on many levels. So, and now, this could be disastrous as they've, gone after men, weakened us, and and generations, and it goes in cycles too. And then we're all of a sudden going to try to go into a war. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
What is that? Weak men create hard times, and hard times create strong men, and strong men create, that whole
good times. And then, strong men create good times, and then good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And it's a cycle over and over again. So there's definitely something to that. And there's also the Victor Hugo quote. Is it Victor Hugo? Yeah, it says, I know, of course, I'm going to forget it as I got sidetracked there. But no, adversity creates men and prosperity creates monsters. So it's very similar there. But I also want to point out, let's get a tweet from Health Ranger Mike Adams.
And by the way, Blake, Victor Hugo also says, "'Tis easy enough to be pleasant when life flows along like a song. But the man worthwhile is the one who will smile when everything goes dead wrong."
Yeah, and they have lived through those good times, hard times, and so have we. And we're watching these cycle play out perfectly. It's very interesting. Yes, history repeating itself. But here's a tweet from Mike Adams, Health Ranger. It says, from Putin on Friday, says the danger for Europe does not come from Russia. The main threat to Europeans lies in the critical and ever-growing, now practically total dependence on the United States, militarily, politically, technologically, ideologically, and informational spheres. Europe is increasingly being sidelined in global economic development, plunged into chaos by migration and other acute problems, and deprived of international subjectivity and cultural identity. And that's, he's talking about these exact same things. The 2025 NDAA authorizing mandatory military draft of women across America as Pentagon pursues global nuclear war with Russia and China at the same time. So it's not good. They are going to finish it, but I guess that's been the global the globalist goals for a while is take out their biggest opponent, and that would be the United States, and get rid of the pesky Constitution and bring everybody into the New World Order. And there's obstacles on different sides with Putin or Trump, and just nationalism in general. So we should be standing up to that. And not
we were talking about schools and kind of how long has American society been denigrating men and the globalist ends trying to reach their desired means. We sent this out here, and it's kind of connected to exactly what you were talking about there. We replied saying schools are the root problem. Legacy media fan the flames. Democrats spray gasoline. All must be removed and replaced with sanity. So this is in the 1990s. Camille Paglia talked about anti-Western radical leftists taking over and politicizing schools. So let me just kind of drop this here for your reference.
How the universities have abandoned what should be the center of the university, which is learning. Okay, all right. Now, I'm on the record. My last book, Sex, Art, and American Culture, had a whole transcript of a multicultural course I taught at the university. Okay, with an Asian professor. Okay, I believe in enlightened multiculturalism based on scholarship.
What's the difference in unenlightened and enlightened multiculturalism?
Okay, I'm totally opposed to any politicized agenda in the classroom. Okay, I do not want this crappy melodrama being taught to our students that Western civilization is filled with evil patriarchs, and out there are the wonderful people of color. Okay?
Well, but I don't see anyone that I know of that believes that. Well, just think of what you just said.
The new historicists. Listen, you don't know Stephen Greenblatt, the new historicists. Okay, I mean, my God, every word out of their mouth is about the evil of Western culture. You don't know how bad
Western
it is.
culture is evil,
yeah,
and all
you don't know how bad
Asian
it is.
or African culture is unflawed.
These people in the who have control of the university's humanities departments now do not believe in great art. Okay, they do not believe they believe the dead white European males are just are been canonized.
Well, Skip Gates does.
And Blake, this is what the globalists have been pushing. It's just a demoralization campaign of the country, and it's been trying to take out your strongest opponent, your strongest foe. Like you were saying, you got to take out the men of the strongest country. And it's been going on for 20, 30 years. In the 90s, they were talking about this radical cultural Marxism. And it's really reached ahead. There really is nowhere left to retreat to, and a line in the sand must be drawn. A line in the sand has been drawn, it seems.
Yeah, well, we'll see how people actually stand up to this draft stuff. So, and, we just there's no side to choose right now. So we want secure borders. We don't. It's like this party line thing. Meanwhile, so the Republicans are on the good side of securing the border, but then they're trying to install this draft. And then the Democrats, I guess, don't want the draft, but they don't care about the border. So we're screwed in the middle. So yeah, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Yeah, we're
here. I am stuck in the middle with you.
Yeah. So yes, I don't know what to do, Brian. It's and I thought I ever wanted to get involved in this journalism stuff and even talk about it, and it just what do we do now? I don't know.
We
try to make
just
a difference, but we're just
spit truth.
Spit truth.
We're trying to combat the
ignored and scorned, and meanwhile, nothing happens. And
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
We'll believe. Yep. And then the sun we'll have a solar flare that'll send everything back to the Stone Age, and then
guess who?
Society. Right.
Guess who may or may not have obtained a solar powered generating device.
Cool. Well done.
I'll tell you that going without power for multiple days will wake your ass up a little bit, and you go, man, I gotta at least keep the refrigerator and the sump pump plugged in. Like, I can go without all of my toys and stuff, but like, you need.
How many watts does that put out? How many watts?
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you need a lot of wattage, but you also can't have it like being really loud, because if the shiz hits the fan, that's going to generate a lot of attention.
Unwanted attention. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's just a reminder to everybody out there to consider leveling up in your food security, your mobility, some of the items, your self-defense, your backup plans. Just like really fortify your life a little bit. Like Blake said, what if there's an EMP? It's like, well, okay, you need a Faraday cage and all that. It gets a little complicated, but you can prepare a little bit now. Get a couple water filtration devices down at Walmart. They're $30. Get a life straw. Get some gravity fed stuff. Like, you need water more than anything else. Get some of your supplies in order, because I'm telling you, my spidey senses are tingling, and I don't love it, but I'm so aware of it. I want to talk to people about it. There's an OPSEC thing where you would not want to divulge operational security, but like, it's no surprise my power went out and I need a little bit of something to keep some of the devices running, and I've addressed it. So I will talk about it, because screw it. But to all the listeners out there, please fortify your lives just a little bit. Okay, let's jump away from this topic and start making our way through the other ones. I think, though, Blake, we can just touch and go on this one. This is super important. We can address it here, and then maybe we could come back and on Tuesday talk about it a little bit more on our next episode of the Agree to Disagree show. All right, we are back here, and I want to just provide this update. I'm not sure, Blake, if you saw this or if you had thoughts, but this is a report saying that Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach is suing Pfizer for, quote, misleading Kansans on COVID vaccine. Blake, I mean, this is actually happening now. Big Pharma is now being sued by a United States state. You have any thoughts on this one? I mean, for misleading about misleading the people of Kansas about COVID details.
It's a very positive development. Hopefully he's it takes a lot of balls to stand up to Big Pharma like that. So that's good for him. And yeah, other states need to follow suit. People were, unnecessarily pressured into taking this experimental jab. It's paid consequences, including it's weakened our military. A lot of people that, were basically forced out. A lot of first responders. We lost a lot of good people, militarily, first responders, pressured a lot of people that may have, reactions and consequences from taking the chemical cocktail that they were enriching themselves on, and trying to fearmonger.
And they talked so much trash about hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin that they scared doctors away from prescribing the actual amounts.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of
could have potentially helped people, Blake. They pushed it away because they were saying you must only take our thing. Like, how dare they try to monopolize what we may or may not do with our own bodies?
Well, they monetized on it too. They're not making any money off of hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. But they were making money off of, COVID deaths.
So they should be sent to jail, and all of that money should be confiscated.
Yeah, I mean, we should have a full-on revolution. Get rid of the draft and send a lot of these deep state actors that have been lying to us for years. That it should be them facing the brunt and the consequences. But instead, they're still in power. They still have plenty of money, and they are going to send our kids off. Yeah, they'll pump our kids full of experimental jabs and send them off to war. So yeah, it's us or them, and it's hopefully there's more pushback. So this is nice to see. So kudos to Attorney General Chris Kobach. May he be safe, unlike the Boeing whistleblowers and other people that have tried to take on the powers that be.
Yeah, this is insane. The people that have been ruling with iron fist and punitively and so mafiosa-ishly, God, that's not even remotely a word. The time up for that stuff is over. It simply has to be over. Blake, Kenneth B is saying that he's got a BB gun should things turn south. So that's a start, right? I mean, a BB gun.
At least you could kill small birds in your backyard and you can survive off of that, right? Once shiz hits the fan and there's no more supplies, no more grocery stores, no more electricity, right? You can BB gun will come in handy. Might squirrels and small game.
So you say you want a revolution. Okay, end wokeness is important,
but goodness, I don't know what to do anymore. We're in a lot of trouble. And so yes, the forefathers would be like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys waiting for?
That's when in the course of human events, like
right.
We wrote it out, we spelled it out to you. This is not normal what they're doing to you. You must defend yourselves. So anyway, end wokeness here. I'm just going to touch and go on this one. Regarding Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach, regarding this, there's 4 points that he's making. Number one, safety related to pregnant women was misrepresented. Heart problems or related heart issues were misrepresented. Lying regarding the vaccine efficacy is being cited, and colluding to censor questions is being cited. Thank God for heroes like this who are standing up to this nonsense. They ruined our society and they ruined families forever by pushing what they did, how they did. So, yeah, complete standing ovation for Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach here. There is so much criminal activity. Go get Fauci. Go get all these companies. You take down the social media companies that silenced accounts that were discussing science. By the way, what do you have to go to? You got to go to cdc.gov/vaccines so that you can get countervailing views to vaccine-related medical claims and political implications. We are required to tell you that, but that will not. That doesn't mean that we're scot-free. We've had multiple videos taken down, which is why it's important that you follow the New American Media in all the places, including Rumble. Follow the podcast for the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify. Follow us on Truth, the New American Media. We're on Truth Social. Telegram, we're TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X, we're at American_media_. On Facebook, we have a page, the New American Media, and we have several groups. Search TNAM and see what comes up. I saw that Facebook has deleted about 10 of my groups. Very odd stuff. They deleted the Moon Saloon group. That was interesting. They deleted the TNAM School Indoctrination Network group. They do not like us calling out the cultural Marxism in schools. Oh, they hate that. They got rid of TNAM NASCAR. No apparent reason. Went to share some stuff, and these groups do not exist anymore. But anyway, search TNAM.
Way too many groups, Brian. Probably consolidate those, but it sucks that they did it for you.
It does suck, but we're also on Instagram, as I said, the New American Media, and YouTube and Odyssey, the New American Media. YouTube has like 1,400 videos, so please subscribe there. Let some videos play. Trying to boost those numbers again and hit some certain thresholds that could reactivate some opportunities on the account. So please do that. And yeah, Blake, this was just super important. I had to get to this story before we moved on to the next, because finally a little bit of accountability may be in the works for the people of Big Karma. Yeah, Big Karma for Big Pharma. I'm here for it. All right, next topic. Yes, Kenneth is saying, but they meta well. No, they didn't. No, they didn't mean well. They did not mean well. And I've been watching that Zuckerberg clip of him talking with Rogan and trying to about silencing the Hunter Biden story. The 51 intelligence officials went after the con job that these assholes have pulled over on us in the past 4 years is insane. And they're not, I wouldn't even care if they were improving society. someone wrestles power away from Trump and whatever. Now they got 4 years, and you're like, well, look, the dollar's really strong. Energy costs are low. We have a good screening apparatus at our borders so that only nonviolent people are coming in and all of the poison is being filtered out. If you could look around at aspects of our society that matter and things were improving, Blake, what would we care? It would be hard to get outraged if they were improving the world. They're not. They're doing everything antithetical to the way that we will live, the only way that we will live, without equivocation, without backing down, unequivocally. Like, there are lines in the sand that have been crossed, and it is time to push back. There is no more room to take steps backward. It's time to advance. And but they meta well. Okay,
well,
so
hey, I'm all in favor of shutting down misinformation or pulling it out. But I mean, yeah, we can do the community notes way, or we can do it the shadow banning and censorship and putting feds in there who are up to no good. They're meddling around and they're controlling information. So,
well, that sounds great. Let's censor Fox News for repeating the Fine People hoax during the 2020 debates. Let's take CNN off the air for lying about all of the things they lied about with COVID. Let's go take MSNBC off the air for lying about Trump for 9 years straight. Let's see. Everything in Ukraine, we can take ABC, Disney, ESPN off the air for all their social stuff that they're pushing. Oh, I mean, we're not left with much if we take away their propaganda. But there's occasionally some real journalisming out there in the universe. And Blake, this is the case in Nashville, not too far from you. So let's discuss this. Another super important topic. Agree or disagree that journalists should be punished for publishing Nashville manifesto? Agree or disagree?
Disagree strongly. It's amazing. They're trying to set a new precedent here. This is basic journalism, and it's in the public's interest.
Yes,
and
it is.
People have been asking for this for a very long time.
Demanding this.
They
have no right to hide this. They have no right to hide this public information. Somebody, some effort is brainwashing people into rages, into committing acts like this, and we have to discuss what's going on and why. And if you don't understand how far people get pushed and what it results in, we're going to have more of this stuff. It has to be called out.
What maybe, Brian, what are they thinking that there'd be more of this if it gets released, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be angry over things that are mentioned in there, and people could be targeted. So, I mean, it's under the guise of for the greater good, but we don't really know because we haven't seen it ourselves. And some people are willing to leak it because they don't think it's that bad, or at least people should understand what's happening. But others have their own agenda. But it's also, I believe, the families of the victims that don't want it out. But maybe they could be being paid off. We don't really know. Or they could be under some sort of duress somewhere behind the scenes. We don't know all the information. So we do know. So a liberal Nashville judge is threatening to hold this journalist here, Michael Plehe, in criminal contempt of court after he published quotes from the manifesto of the trans mass school shooter Audrey Hale, which leads to this post-millennial article here. He's vowing to fight for free speech, which we should. We shouldn't have to have a fight for free speech. It should automatically be there. So he was the Michael Patrick Leahy, editor and owner of the Tennessee Star, appeared in court on Monday for a show cause hearing to address why he should not be held in contempt for publishing parts of the school shooter's writings that he obtained from his source. So many outlets had sued for release of the documents, but were denied. So the FBI, as well as the family members of the 3 children and 3 adults who were killed in the shooting, have worked to prevent the release of the writings. I believe the school did as well, so it seems a lot of them but for what reasons, we're not entirely sure.
It seems like it's to protect the killer.
I don't know. Or
Their
it could
cause and their ideology and their motivating factor. As
We
if
have a lot
you
of
don't want to
stupid
offend the people
reactive
that are
people.
going bonkers on society.
Right. Yeah, but we have a lot of stupid, reactive, bonkers people all over the place who will probably overreact to this thing off of one person. We can't just have a calm discussion. Oh yeah, this person was clearly mentally ill, who was under
This isn't the
medical.
only city this has happened, Blake. This is happening all across the country. There's case after case after case of this.
Yeah, no, definitely. But there's also a lot of sick people out there who overreact to this shit, and they're gonna go, shoot somebody, to respond. I don't know. We're a bunch of stupid, panicky animals. In a certain way, isn't that from Men in Black? It's just people are just dumb, panicky animals. A person can be smart, but I don't know. I've lost my hope in humanity for a lot of reasons, so I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. They're suggesting documents could be destroyed. FBI mentioned a precedent for the destruction of the documents and so-called basement tapes left behind by the Columbine killers. So the FBI is reminding the Nashville police chief that if he wants to destroy documents, there's a precedent for doing so. Well, we could hear, I haven't even heard this clip here, but here's the journalist from the Tennessee Star here in his own words.
You don't know, my name is Michael Patrick Lee. I'm the CEO and editor-in-chief of the Tennessee Star and Starting Digital Media Inc. First thing to say, I just love the state of Tennessee. It's a great state, and my family and I have lived here for 30 years. The people are kind, the people are nice. The governance is just and measured. We started the Tennessee Star so I could exercise my First Amendment rights. I think we have served the public well, and we are delighted to have the opportunity to continue to exercise our First Amendment rights. Thanks very much.
Okay, well, there you have it. Let's see. I'm going to dig into another article here from the Federalist. Yeah, the judge putting freedom of press on trial in the Nashville trans shooter manifesto battle. So that editor-reporter, Michael, says he will go to jail before revealing the source of the documents. And the judge just might oblige. So they do not want this information coming out. I highlighted some of this stuff from this... from Aubrey Hale or whatever, Aiden or whatever she wanted to call herself. She had a long time under medical supervision and psychiatric analysis, I guess, for a long time. The documents published in recent weeks paint a picture of a deeply disturbed 28-year-old woman who identified as a man. Hale appeared to be immersed in trans indoctrination, self-loathing, and rage. Here's a quote. He says, whatever, I am of no society, and I hate society because society ignores to see me. This is 80 pages of writings obtained by the Tennessee Star. According to this troubled trans, says, I'm a queer. I am meant to die. And she signed the entry, Aiden. The news outlets wrote that Hale dreamed of notoriety, the infamous kind, and an entry comparing her life to a Nashville radio personality who attended middle school with Hale. She says, she will live a legend and I will die a shooter, hopefully to become infamous. No one will forget either of us. That's, I don't know who Paige Averina.
And now look, Blake, let me just say, I get it. I understand. It's like the last thing I ever want to do is say the people's names who are attackers or school shooters. I don't want to make them more famous by being stupid. I don't want to give them more publicity, but I think part of the bigger story is just, is this an isolated incident or is there something that's happening nationwide? I had to quickly leave Google and even DuckDuckGo to do a real search on this. But I mean, this is even from a year ago. But from a year ago, in less than 5 years, 4 mass shootings committed by people who make up about 0.5% of the population. So that works out to about 2.75 mass shootings per million transsexuals over 4 years. That was the Hale person at the Christian elementary. Why are Christians being attacked? And we need to be honest about Christianity under attack. From Barack Hussein Obama with the puppet strings in the White House with Biden, talk about it globally, talk about it locally. What's going on with, why was that a location of choice? Also, what about the Colorado person who identified as trans, who shot up a nightclub? What about the Colorado woman with another school? You know, now maybe it's just a couple of people doing a couple of things. What about this person at their place of employment in Aberdeen, Maryland? Is there something about people suffering from gender dysphoria who are being manipulated into violence from people on the left, from the globalists, from the Democrats, to try to stoke violent attacks against demographics of people, whether they're Christians or wherever it is? Are they being weaponized as a group? And I think that's where it becomes important to kind of figure out what's going on and what types of thoughts this person is regurgitating, to figure out who's saying this stuff, who's preaching to these kids that you should hate yourself and that you're not actually you're someone that's different than you. So you need to start doing all these radical things. Like, it's okay to just be you. All this other stuff is like, who's pushing this and for what reason? Are they getting paid? Is it part of a divisive agenda meant to tear this country apart from the fabric, the threads of the fabric to rip a hole in the nation? What is the purpose of this? So I don't know. Is it just a few isolated incidents, or is it a part of a weaponized campaign to go after certain demographics in our country? So I am torn on it because I don't want to make this person more famous. I don't want to make a crazy person's ramblings more legendary. I don't. Also, we have to know what we're talking about. So I guess if you had to pick, Blake, you're on the side of more journalisming, let the information out and just let it fall where it may.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, I haven't seen it, so yes, I guess I'd like to see it because I'm just curious to see what they're actually hiding, and I don't know what to say about this because at the same time, yeah, I mean, what happens if this escalates? What happens if there's some retaliation by some crazed religious fundamentalists who are going to start going after trans movement? I don't know, but just people don't act irrationally all around, and I don't know what to think.
I would just say though, like, if there were radical imams who were preaching really destructive, violent attacks, I would like to know about it. I don't want to sugarcoat the true danger of what's going on. On the other hand,
you might see another Christ church,
a martyr out of it either,
right? Or yeah, but what happens if by releasing that information, and then you get another one of these Christ church wackos who wants to go, murder a bunch of people at some random mosque where they had nothing to do with anything. So yeah, it's stupid the way they have to, withhold information from people based on overreaction. But I don't know if that's the case or not.
I mean, look, Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, they provided honest reporting. They weren't making it up. It wasn't fake propaganda to get us into World War III, which is what Biden's deep state, Obama's deep state did with 51 intelligence officials to rig the last election. Which is worse, lying about fake things or telling you the truth that's uncomfortable? I would rather take the uncomfortable truth.
Yeah, well, me too. So, but some people can't handle the truth.
There we go. Name
Especially
that movie. Hey, Gen Z, name that movie. You can't handle the truth. Okay.
This person says she wanted to live a legend and die a shooter. Or no, her friend will live a legend, but she will die a shooter, hopefully to become infamous and forget neither of us. Hale also wrote about her imaginary penis and that she would kill to get her hands on puberty blockers. And that was less than 2 weeks before the deadly attack.
Who was preaching to that person that they would be better off doing that? Who is preaching that they would be better off pumping themselves, already mentally unstable, full of radical, mind-altering, body-altering drugs? That is completely irresponsible.
Well, it sounds like she'd probably been on drugs for a long time. So I don't know. Maybe that led to some of it. I don't know. She said her penis exists in her head. I swear to God, I'm a male, that the killer wrote in one of the many journals recovered by the police. So, yeah, this is a very disturbed, irrational individual. And, yeah, it's too bad. But, I mean, it's just... There's no good thought into it anyway. Like if you were going to say just lose your mind and you wanted to be a killer, why would you go after innocent school kids at an elementary school, you sick fuck? I mean, it's bad news. None of it makes any sense. So I don't know. Do we need to know the information? I guess I would say so, but maybe there's a reason behind the scenes why they don't want to release all of it. But I don't think holding a journalist in contempt, what did he release that was so damning? So
and speaking of big pharma earlier, Blake, let's find out what type of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors this person was on. Were they on SSRIs like so many of the other deranged shooters? What point do you have to start holding the chemical companies responsible, culpable, if they were on selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs? You know, there's a bit of a trend here. Like, let's just find out what it is. Kenneth really wants to discuss that there once was a man named Enos. Yes, thank you for that limerick. Imaginary peanuts. Well, there's that. Okay, well, Blake, let's bounce from this one. We got 20 minutes left. We got 5 topics, or we got 25 minutes left, so about 4 minutes each on the next couple topics here. Do you have anything to wrap up on this one?
No, good.
Okay.
Covered that pretty good. Yeah, good stuff.
We did. Okay, on to the next topic here. Blake, do you agree or disagree that Hollywood celebrity endorsements are crucial to re-elect Biden? You didn't put re-elect in quotation mark or in quotation marks, as if he was elected in the first place.
Yeah, true. Well, see sides.gov, because it was the most safe and secure election ever, even with all the mail-in balloting. It was just truly remarkable what our officials did during that. Yes, during 2020.
If you take a look, I did correct that in the I changed
sure.
That. Re-elect, air quotes. All right, so what say you about these celebrity endorsements? Man, this list is a sad, pathetic list. It is just getting weirder by the day, but it is the same cast of characters. It's a lot of the same faces, but a few new ones coming on the scene.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. So let's pop up in this article here. I think it came from Axios is where this originated, and then it's from Modernity's covering it here from Paul Joseph Watson. How hopelessly out of touch the media says Hollywood is key to Biden re-election. And it really is. You're not going to get the regular people who have had to endure the last 4 years of the Biden regime to endorse this or want more of it. So what happens when you can't get the regular people on your side? Well, you're going to recruit a bunch of celebrities to make it seem like it's cool for all of the masses of morons out there, unfortunately. So, yeah, the people that overreact to a manifesto or people that basically pay no attention to politics at all, and then they just go out based on Taylor Swift said to vote for Joe Biden, so I'm going to vote for him. So we're in a lot of trouble. And, they know how to play the masses. So they get the endorsements. So they got Clooney and Julia Roberts, and Clooney, of course, he was just out making a statement about how he thinks that they should still keep mandating the experimental jabs. But anyway, I guess they also persuaded Mr. Jack Black, yes, who's somebody I think most people like, including me and you, Brian, and we're both kind of disappointed. At least I am. To see that he was persuaded somehow, some way, to go campaign for the president. So, in a hilarious piece of quote journalism, Axios via the New York Times published an article claiming that Hollywood celebrities are the key to Biden's efforts to win the election in November. And it was a reaction to Biden's fake plastic Hollywood fundraiser, where, yes, Clooney, and Julia Roberts watched Obama talking to Jimmy Kimmel, of course, while Biden looked around wondering what was going on, and he had the moment where he froze on stage. That's another story in our stack here. Biden's campaign broke Democrats' single evening fundraising record. So, yes, you're all the different stars, all the different celebrities that they have to endorse Biden. So I don't know if they're being paid, if they're blackmailed, what happens. But yes, this is their campaign strategy. And unfortunately, they got Jack Black on that as well. So I guess we could transition this topic. Brian, unless you got a comment. Do you agree or disagree? That's basically the strategy going forward, is getting as many celebrity endorsements as possible to get the low info crowd to persuasion.
Hey, good luck. Good luck to you, man. Nothing is saving this sinking ship. Nothing's saving it. Like, it's so ridiculous to even think that it matters. I don't think any of this matters at all. Not even remotely. I don't think it moves the needle in any way. No significant way. Is this concerning? No, it's just more. It's strange. By the way, Victor Hugo also wrote, "No army can withstand the strength of an idea whose time has come." So, I mean, right. I just feel like it's time for a better society, a better humanity, Blake. I don't think anything's going to save this group of co-conspirators. Yeah, Dreamer Ultra calls it the School of Croc. Yeah, what a crock. Well played, Dreamer. Taking some humor lessons from Kenneth B. Awesome. Well done. School of Croc.
We also got to say a little prayer for Jocelyn, who has not been here for a bit. MJ Sedona. She had unfortunately had a medical setback recently, so she is been back in the hospital. Hopefully she's out of it. That was last week, but yeah, we definitely miss her commentary, having her in the chat as well. So
yes, best wishes out there, Jocelyn. Hope you're doing better soon. Keep it improving. We miss you.
But
yeah, she's always great. The insight she puts into the shows, always appreciate that.
Yeah.
What about Jack Black being blackmailed? Jack blackmailed. Like, when you pop up on this list, you just have to wonder, what did you do? Did you take the money? Are you on video doing something you don't want people to see? I don't know.
Right. So he's a superstar. He just has the Kung Fu Panda 4 came out. I haven't seen any of them, but I'm sure they're great. He is a terrific actor, musician. Does the voice acting there. He's got all the money in the world, huge busy schedule, all the different things that he could be doing. And how did he get persuaded into campaigning for the president, which really does hurt his reputation? And it makes it look like he's a sellout, or that he is compromised in some way, blackmailed, or who knows. Like, hey, Jack, we really hate to say this, but come on, can you just campaign for the president? He's like, no. But it's like, hey, well, we're gonna show that video from Epstein Island. I don't know if he was there. I don't know what's happening. I'd like to think he's a good guy. I don't, so I don't know. I don't know why he would do this. It seems like he doesn't really have much to gain on this, except he seems to be, doing a favor and could be compromised. And people are calling it out. How much are they paying you? The blowback for endorsing Biden, not too well. I don't know if we want to watch part of this at all. Oops, sure. I actually already here.
How cringy is it?
Oh, here we go.
All right.
A few days ago, my manager called me and said George Clooney and Julia Roberts wanted me to help out the president and speak here tonight. And I said, I am in. When and where?
Oh, God. Really?
You. And then they said, Jack, we know how busy you are. You don't have time. Look at all the other events that are happening tonight that you already turned down. MC at the Fliegelman Bat Mitzvah. The opening of the new Jack in the Box in Oxnard. Judge at the 2nd annual Imperial Valley Avocado Festival. You don't see that on Meryl Streep's resume. I said, I know I turned them down, but my president needs me. Thank you.
Ugh.
And why? You know you're automatically going to piss off half the country. And the president has never been weaker, this particular candidate.
Wow.
Who's already, 82 years old and has been faltering badly. I mean, I could understand if he went for Newsom or Michelle Obama or something, Biden. Can't you tell Clooney you're busy? I mean, give me a break. Clooney is such a clown. He's so compromised.
And by the way, Clooney had something going on with his wife in Gaza and aid and terrorists and Israel or
roiled and all. Yeah.
His
all
wife
kinds of activism that he's been involved in.
Yeah.
Another huge disappointment.
By the way, let me jump here. Let me show you this. This was 2016. There we go. The caption reads, so this just happened. Jack Black and I at Tim Robbins' production of 1984 at the Actors Gang in Culver City. Fun fact that an actor just told me at the rap party, Jack Black and Kyle Gass met here. Also had a fun political chat with Tim Robbins. He hates Trump, is no fan of Hillary, and he is supporting Bernie. So that is me. What am I holding? Is that a Stella? Maybe that's a Stella.
Miller Lite? No, maybe it is a Stella. Yeah.
I thought it was a Miller Lite at first. I did the same exact. I thought Miller Lite because of the light color on the labels. You know, it's funny. I think girls look at their old posts and they go, "Oh, I missed that dress. Oh, I missed that dress. Oh, those shoes. I remember those shoes." I'm just like, what was I drinking? What was I sipping on here? But yeah, that was meeting Jack Black at the Actors Gang in Culver City. Good times. But man, how far the mighty have fallen, Blake. How far the mighty have fallen. I don't know how you recover from backing Joe Biden after watching the way he's destroyed this country for 3.5 years. How could you possibly support this? Lost so much respect.
I'm sad too as a Jack Black fan, and I've seen Tenacious D twice. It's a couple of interesting concerts. One that got cut short early because somebody got murdered at the concert, and then they covered it up.
What?
Yeah, that was in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild one because it was they had to shut it down, and it was like, why would they have to shut a concert down? Jack Black got on stage and he was like, so I'm sorry, something terrible's happened, and this is gonna be our last song or whatever. They'd just gotten 5 songs into it, I think, and they had all these cops show up, and then the next day they said, oh, somebody got stabbed in the knee or something. Oh, okay. I had heard from somebody, and I didn't see it. I did not see it. Could be all hearsay. Maybe it was right that somebody got stabbed, and it was gory and bad, and the cops came to go track them down and find them. But they got to protect. It was a PR thing. They got to protect everybody and protect the tourism. But it was sad. So
I've heard that the Teslas, when they crash, they send reports to emergency tow truck companies instantaneously before the police get there, before police reports are taken, before photographs. They don't want photographs taken of a car hitting a building or something, and that they're towed immediately because they do not want the bad publicity. They all get double or triple time on a Tesla call to just grab the car and go. Grab it and go. Get it out of here.
If they can get it before it blows up, because when those fires are almost impossible to put out. You can't put them out with just regular water.
Jeez.
So they're instructed to just let it go, and they're destruct. I mean, it's sad. I love Elon and everything, but it's the drawback with the electrical vehicles.
Jeez, that sounds like what they did in East Palestine, where they set the chemicals on fire instead of cleaning it up. Bunch of morons. Can't ever convince me that was a smart way to handle that. Chemical spill. Thank you, Pete Buttigieg, for dropping out to endorse Biden the same day all those other idiots did, so you could be given a position in our government that you don't deserve because you have no qualifications other than checking a box for diversity, equity, inclusion. That's our transportation secretary. By the way, when there's nuclear capable missile launching ships off of the coast of Florida, our transportation secretary. Yeah, I think that slightly falls under your purview, Captain. I don't belong in my post in any regard. I have no business being here. Okay. Anyway, but Blake, you were talking about someone getting stabbed in the knee. Let's talk about someone else who has mobility problems. Agree or disagree? Biden videos that are showing him frozen or wandering are deep fakes.
Well, I'm going to disagree strongly there, but I know your favorite press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre.
All of our favorite press secretary.
Everybody's favorite.
Everybody's favorite. America's favorite.
Now she's saying that all those videos that you see of him, like, stumbling, freezing, whatever, looking to shake somebody's hand and they're not there. Those are just all, those are deep fakes, Brian. See, now that makes sense. All right, we put that those terrible rumors to bed. So let's check this out from her. So,
ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attack the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
Win. She thinks there are wins?
Yeah, according to her, yeah. But she's in a little bubble there. But yeah, they're really they're struggling with Biden, trying to keep him. All these videos are really damaging, and they're trying to do damage control. Basically, we have multiple. It seems like every week. We didn't even show the ones from that particular Hollywood stage where it got cut off. Actually, I do have that one. Let me pull that up.
By the way, while you pull that up, I just want to reference KJP using the word deep fakes here. This is Name This Movie, folks. This is a classic. Here we go.
You got very good arms.
Very good arms.
He didn't fall?
Here we go.
Inconceivable. You keep using the word. You don't think it means what you think it means.
You keep using that word. It does not mean what you think it means. Deep fake is something very different, Karine Jean-Pierre. You keep using that word, deep fake. It does not mean what you think it means.
Yeah, pretty much. So they all the influencers were panicking. Left-wing influencers. This is a great post from Colin Rugg, saying the video does not show Biden freezing up and being led off stage by Obama. You had all the usual suspects. You had David Hogg saying the record did not happen. This is a total lie. You've got Harry Sisson, of course. MAGA's lying again. Brian Tyler Cohen, Alex Vindman, Rufus Gifford, Andrew Bates. All the who's who of these young liberal activists. Like editing. Tom adding the rest.
He looks like a robot, and people are legitimately wondering, Blake, I've tried to ignore this topic. I don't really get into it seriously, but is it someone in a skin suit? Is this somebody else acting like they're Joe Biden? And if so, why are they acting so weird? Is it a robot? Is it a Joe bot? I mean, I'm at the point trying to understand. He looks like C-3PO out there. And you see the pictures of the skin mask on the back of his neck lifting up. And you're like, what am I even watching? Is any of this real? Or all these clips that I'm seeing, are these manipulated clips? Because none of it seems real. Nothing about Joe Biden or this air quote presidency seems authentic or legitimate or trustworthy. None of it. Not a single piece of it, Blake.
Yeah, no, it's weird that they're putting that out there, but I would just think if he was really a fake, then they would find something better than this malfunctioning robot. Whatever's happening, I don't know. There's been those theories, and you're looking at the side by side and the pictures. It seems there could be something to it. I don't know. I'm not going to go there, but I am confused why they would keep dragging him out there. It seems like he really is fading, as though he is, an 82-year-old man progressing with his dementia. And there's another embarrassing incident that happened that they were the leftists were freaking out about, calling it disinformation, or even Biden teams calling for social media disinformation censorship action after the G7 mishap. So you had this, interesting like parachuter coming in, and instead of looking at the parachuter, he's just like blankly looking off in the distance. It didn't make any sense. And so they were saying it's all fake, but then they were showing the bigger picture within context to show.
Was he looking at the parachuter, or was he not?
Here, we'll watch the whole clip in its entirety, and
I've heard this described both ways now.
Yeah, so here it goes. G7 Italia. Okay, everybody's clapping and looking at the parachuter guy. Except Joe's looking confused, but he's awkwardly smiling because I don't know why, but then he's looking off in the distance. And finally, they're going to go rescue Joe because what is he doing? He's thumbs upping some other guy, but he seems to be staring over him. And then she's got to come over and pull him away and say, no, you're supposed to be, looking at the guy that just dropped down off the skydiver that just dropped down.
There's somebody on the ground over there.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he was staring above him. He wasn't staring down at him. Like he's gonna go shake his hand. Like what is he doing? Okay,
he's got like the Bob Dole hand.
And finally, she's like, come here, Mr. President."
Yeah, it is a little
weird. Macron. Who's that? Isn't that the guy, London mayor? Or
Khan?
The who's who of the G7 elitists. But he's clearly out to lunch. I believe, was it Piers Morgan was even talking about that. Yeah, the frozen moments. The left-wingers are calling it fake news. They're calling it deep fakes. But we know something's wrong. They can't keep trying to hide this anymore. Yeah, here's people.
On screen, Joe Biden walking like C-3PO.
Great.
I'm glad somebody made this video. I didn't know that it existed until I just typed it in. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one who's seeing it. And there's probably far more examples or better examples now. This video appears to be from 2 years ago. Okay, anyway, all right, so Biden sucks. Lightning round, just a moment or two here. We got Chucky Schumer and Alex Jones. Blake, take it away for as much time as you have and ride us into the sunset, sir.
Well, speaking of Adam Lanza, yes, well, we do have the problem with Alex Jones here. They're going above and beyond. So, men under fire. They're talking about shutting down InfoWars. I think I don't know exactly. They had some case in Houston, and it seems like they're going to still be on the air for a while longer. I'm not exactly sure how that timing is going to be happening. But, if they're going to go liquidate his assets.
I'm sorry. I was just going to add that some people have claimed he's brought a lot of this on himself. Like, had he started making payments or had he worked almost like he's intentionally causing this to happen. I don't know for what reason, but that's at least an accusation I've heard.
Well,
I don't know all the details here.
Yeah, I guess the InfoWars, the way it's set up is complicated, and it might be easier for him to just remove a lot of the overhead and just go do his own show on Twitter. So in some ways, he maybe won't mind just letting it all go. I don't know. There's a lot of different rumors putting out, and then he didn't. He put out the thing where the feds were trying to shut him down, but it's a Sandy Hook thing, and the trial was very framed in a way that it was it was kind of BS. So they're going after him and they're trying to get some kind of a payment, and they have negotiated because I think it was like $1.5 billion, and then they knocked it down to $85 million over 10 years, but then he still wasn't making payments, whether it's justified or not. But yeah, they're trying to crack down. But they took it. This goes way too far. I think he should be able to appeal it, and what have you. But going after his social media accounts is a bit too far. So whether you agree or disagree with the outcome, taking his social media accounts, I don't know about that. That is like election interference, and that is a kind of a personal attack. If you're going to go after some of his assets, fine. But yes, so that's a very disturbing twist on things. So I
mean, that's one of the bigger names. Right. I don't know, people that get so bent out of shape about Sandy Hook, and it's like, can you take any of the major important 30 stories that CNN has gotten wrong intentionally, like with the same energy? Can you hit me with the same energy of disdain toward NBC, MSNBC? Same disdain as to how Fox has fallen and how they threw their own lawsuit and kicked Tucker off their network after letting the 51 intelligence officials pushing that fake story during the 2020 debates. At the same time, while you're mentioning the fine people hoax again, like, I don't know. Sandy Hook was a low point, sure, but for they've been putting out a lot of important information over the years, and stacked. Right. I'm just asking to stack the batting average of important stories side by side, and let's see why only some organizations and outlets are demonized, and while others get a free pass year after year. Where's the accountability for what they've all done since COVID? Let's just focus on that. Who's been telling the truth and who's been lying? So if you're going to go at wars, go at CNN and MSNBC, the same exact energy, please. Or spare me.
Yeah, let's just say I don't even want to talk about Sandy Hook because it's such a toxic issue. There's nothing to gain and everything to lose. But there is some interesting things, and people were questioning about that. I'll just leave it at that. But certainly, yes, as you're correct, Brian. CNN, MSNBC peddled absolutely fake news for years, and with all this, Russian collusion hoax or the Hunter laptop hoax, or with the Pfizer and all the COVID insanity and the fear mongering, and they capitalized on all that. Took a lot of money from Pfizer, so maybe they should be sued into oblivion and have all their social media accounts taken away if we're going to apply things equally. So I would definitely agree there. There you go. So like a good fair to me. But move on. We'll talk about the out of touch. Got the grilling gone wrong with elitist Chuck Schumer deleting his Father's Day post after an embarrassing raw cheeseburger photo. Amongst other things, people have been pointing out, the hot dogs are all cooked. Burgers are not, but he's putting cheese on them already. And then the burners were set to off on both sides. So he's trying to. I thought he took this down originally because he was going to piss off a lot of the leftist base who might be vegetarian or vegan or something, but as it turns out, this entirely staged photo op to try to make him look like he's just a regular guy grilling in the backyard. He clearly has no idea what he's doing, and then of course they didn't realize it at the time until social media absolutely destroyed him, and then he was forced to take it down, but people have already saved the pictures, and we get to get a laugh at his expense. So this would be a big no-no if you're out barbecuing, to put cheese on the burger before you have cooked the half, and then you cook half of it, and then you put cheese on it, and then you cook the other half.
Yeah, you flip it over, and then
right.
But the best way to do it is you take the four corners, and you bend the four corners in on each other to make like a super square. And then it melts down evenly, but it doesn't run off. Less mess to clean up, more cheese. Like you pick up little tips. But they're talking about the ground beef there on the hamburgers, but they were calling him the nickname from what was that movie where Meatloaf? He with Edward Norton.
Curry, that old movie.
Edward Norton.
Oh yes,
his name was Daniel Paulson. Robert Paulson.
Robert Paulson, yes, Fight Club.
Yeah, well, they were calling him that
boobs.
nickname because of his physique in this picture. He looks.
Oh yeah, he does. He does have the testicular cancer man boobs.
Yeah, there's a bit of something going on there. So I don't know if it's a good. Yeah, he's gonna annoy the vegans because it's like, how dare you eat meat? And then he's gonna annoy the other people because it's like, what are you doing to yourself, brother? Anyway, yeah, hello, fellow human. Hi, fellow high school kids. It's so staged. It's so weird. It's so cringe. It's all fake. Everything is fake and lame. Everything's fake and lame, Blake.
Yeah, it definitely is. I wonder when the last time that Chuck Schumer actually cooked like a regular meal for himself. Probably never.
Blake, let him cook.
Just
That's
let
what the
him
kids
do
say
it.
now. Let him cook.
Yep.
He's on a roll. Let him go. Let him cook.
Yeah.
That's what the kids are saying. Hello, fellow high school students. All right, Blake, we're going to let you go today. Thanks for joining us. Tell us again where people can follow you, sir.
Twitter X, TV's Blake Walley, and the archive will always be on The Next Level News.
And by the way, hey, this was a minute 35. We could have tightened a couple segments, but we kind of locked in on that 90. Doing our darndest there, trying to give you the most informed 90 minutes in media. Join us again
minor
on
failure.
Thursday.
We'll take it. All right. I said a minor failure, but we'll take it.
Oh, the 5 minutes. I'll call that within 2%. By 3%. We got pretty darn close, but we'll try to hit those marks later. Thank you so much, Blake. To be continued, sir. You have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Thanks, Brian. All right. We'll see you Thursday. Okay. I got some things going on. There might be a delay, or I might have to do it from a remote location, but I will be able to do a Thursday show at some time, but it might be a little later than normal. Okay. But anyway, that's it. That's all I got. All right, guys. Be good. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Yeah, keep me posted, Blake. Let me know what time works best. And if you would like to support Blake with his independent journalism, and we do go places, Blake and I have, we've been to Bundy Ranch to cover that. We've been, he went to the DNC in 2016. We both went to the Republican convention in 2016. We both went to Nashville for the RFK event. We went to Washington, D.C. for the Libertarian Convention. We just try to cover news as it's happening. And if you'd like to support Blake in his endeavors, he's on Cash App there. It's $ Blake W99. It's on the screen in blue. And if you'd like to support the New American Media, a bunch of ways you can do so. Patreon, I did not mention earlier, but if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee or drop us $100 a month or $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, whatever suits your fancy, go to patreon.com/The New American Media. Look up The New American Media and just say, hey, we're going to set up a forget about it reoccurring thing because we appreciate what you're doing. We need more people like you telling it like it is. And look, you can go back. We got 14 years of content. How many times have we intentionally steered you in the wrong direction? Zero. Nada. Zip. Zilch. None. We chase stories. We ask questions. We ask uncomfortable questions. We have uncomfortable conversations. But that's what the New American Media is all about. So all of our videos are in 3 places: Rumble, YouTube, Odyssey. Follow the New American Media on all 3 of those accounts. On Telegram, we're TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're also on Signal, TNAM and TNAM Official. I think we should sync those up. On X, we are at American_Media_. On Spotify, subscribe to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show. On Truth Social, The New American Media. Facebook and Instagram, The New American Media. And search TNAM in the groups section of Facebook because we have about 20 different private groups. So that's all I got for now. We'll be back Thursday. Like Blake said, I don't know on the time, hopefully around the similar time. We'll see how it shakes out. But until then, just want to say I appreciate you. Oh, Venmo, bro. Okay. Yes. I did not mention that. Thank you, Kenneth. Yeah, I need to put that in like text at the bottom so I could just click on a button and pop it up. But yes, if you would also like to contribute via, if you would also like to contribute via Venmo, you just type in my name at BrianEngelman. Venmo at Brian Engelman. Wahaha. Yes, Kenneth, that is the truth. All right. For Dreamer and Kenneth, and of course to Jocelyn out there, wishing you a speedy recovery, and everybody else in the TNAM universe, I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon.